you. Pass. Lad. Sit. Match.
Morning, friends. Storm doesn't know who I'm talking to once again. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Not too cold. I think it was supposed to be a little bit colder than it is right now. This is my first hot tent camping experience. And it's interesting. These roll-up titanium stovepipes are a real pain the first time you roll them. And I watched some tutorials before I came out, but still took me like an hour and a half to do, which was surprising. So yesterday, the light left pretty quick. And I was exhausted because once again I forgot to nourish myself once I was working on a task. So I just went to bed. I kept the stove going most of the night for pups, and the inside of the tent on my thermometer said it was about, I think, 60 degrees on the ground most of the night, and even warmer as you got higher, obviously. There was a lot more room than I expected. I thought it would be a bit tighter, but I almost didn't know what to do with myself because there was so much room. I can definitely see the draw, especially once I get my wife out here. She's gonna love it. Place to kind of get warm when it's freezing outside. One thing I'm not sure about, I'm gonna turn this lantern off. One thing I'm not sure about is when it's snowing, how to keep the moisture out when you're using the hot tent. If any of you know, I'd appreciate if you commented your strategy because I'm concerned, even if I shovel out all the snow where we put the tent, that it's going to get really muddy and wet. I don't know if that's unavoidable or if you bring a large footprint, I'm always trying to bring less, so anyways, I'd appreciate any strategies. I did want to talk a little bit about seasons, and this is obviously fresh on a lot of our minds as the seasons change here and it gets cooler. But we don't operate within the theme of each season as much as we used to. And some of this is good and some of this is bad. I think it's good to reflect on and be aware of. For instance, summer, the days are long, there's a lot of light, there's warm weather, green grass, and it's a season of busyness, typically. A season of get your work done, a season of work. You get to fall and things start to cool down, and it's a season of preparation for winter. It's almost just as busy because you're racing against the clock, but there's a little bit of a limit to that because the days start to get shorter. I mean, it got dark last night at like 4 o'clock in the tree line here, and I tried to light the lantern, but the camera, it would have just been dark when I tried to film. Obviously, you get to winter and it's a season of reflection, a season of rest, of strategizing, of living off of your preparation. And spring is a season of rebirth, a season of decluttering, of reorganizing for the craziness that summer will bring, and then the cycle starts again. There's a struggle to find the right balance between working too much and resting too much. And there's an infinite amount of things to do. There's a million house projects that Amanda and I could be working on. Not to mention YouTube and any other things that you want to do in your spare time. But how do you balance rest and not become lazy or be unproductive? And this is something that I think in the West we tend to err on the side of busy is good. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but you know, a common greeting is, "How are you doing?" And there's a very common response of busy, and then, "Oh, good." And I get that. I think there needs to be gratitude for our work. We're designed to work. But we typically talk about work on the forefront versus other things that are capturing our imagination. And again, it's not all good, it's not all bad. But sometimes the pendulum swings in the opposite direction and we glorify rest, and you know, we don't want to go above and beyond or to take a step up in life. And I think the danger of that is you're sitting around waiting to get paid what you think you are owed, when in reality, life doesn't often work that way. Life isn't fair all the time, most of the time. You can hear some gunshots. It's hunting season out here. And that can be a source of pain, of confusion, of struggle, especially in young people who, we're struggling for our identities. It's all right, pups. But I think when you recognize that life isn't fair, you recognize that, there's going to be seasons where I have to put in more than I'm getting out. That's a much more peaceful path. And that's a path that is a long-term view. It's not a short-term, what do I get now? It's delayed gratification. Again, you're proving to the people around you that you're worthy of more responsibility. And with most things in life, I think that the trick is the balance of it. We often have a hard time striking balance between two poles. And this is where I think the idea of seasons comes into play, where we're made to work with the seasons. And I think when you can identify what season you're in, then you can have an objective analysis of what should I be doing right now? Should I be, saying yes to as much as possible? Especially when you're young, you don't even know what the world has for you. Am I in a winter season? I've prepared. I've said yes. I've worked extra. I've gone above and beyond. And now I need to rest, recuperate, reflect, strategize, be. And again, if you're able to do this on a daily basis or a weekly basis, good for you. I just don't think life is as simple as that for some. At least not for me. I've found it really hard to strike a balance between those poles. But anyways, just some reflections. I don't have it all figured out. This has been on my mind lately, especially as the seasons change. I wouldn't be surprised if next time there's snow on the ground in my video and I have to figure out what to do with the snow in this hot tent. I'm considering getting one of those chimneys that's not roll up. I've seen some people online say they've swapped it out for a solid section one that will fit within itself. But we'll see how this packs up. It's just not overly pretty either. At some point I'd like to make a kuksa. I've got this cup that screws onto my water. I think I melted it by setting it on the on the stove last night, which was silly of me, but I'd like to make a kuksa anyways. So I might try that in the next video. Might be a little bit of snow on the ground. Maybe I'll bring some friends along, see if Amanda wants to go, depending on we go. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.